everyone, it's Naomi. Welcome back to Sunday Fun Day Paint Day. Today we're going to be making a decoupaged notebook just in time for everyone going back to school and work. So we'll get started, shall we? I'll just turn the camera down just a moment. So what we're going to need is just a notebook that you buy from the stationery shop. Or anywhere really. We can get notebooks, department stores, wherever. So this is an A4 size. Okay, and we're going to decoupage it with a napkin. So I'm just checking that we can see the screen okay. Right, I think we're good to go. Okay, so first things first, we need to tape off the edge because it has this metal spine, and we can't really paint up to that, so we just get some blue painter's tape and just measure off a section. Okay, and then we just cover up the spines. Usually I would measure it, but I'm just going to eyeball it today. We'll go like that and hope that that's straight. Yep, there we go. So just pop that down because that's going to be our painting edge line. So when we paint, we'll have a nice crisp clean edge just there. Okay, so I've got my tin of paint. Okay, just grab an opener. The paint has already been pre-mixed before we started, so I'll open it up, and today I'm using a linen white, and we just do a quick light coat of paint. So it doesn't have to be on perfectly or anything, only because we will be decoupaging over it with the napkin later. So it's just a quick thin layer of paint. Okay, so as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to give a white background because our napkin that we're using is white. Any colour that you have will shine through or come through, so that's why we're using white, because we've got a white napkin that we're using today. Okay, so we'll just pop a little bit more on. Okay, so just a very rough paint. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, just in the edges. I think we're fine now. And that's fine like that. Okay, so we've painted it. Okay, and then although we're outside, it is a little bit windy, so I'll just put this on, give it a quick blast. So that's touch dry now. It's so warm out here today. That is now touch dry. So just put the lid on the paint. Okay, and then just pop that to the side. Now we're getting our napkin. We've got a white napkin today with a lovely floral background. Okay, so these napkins come in 3 plies. So what we need to do, just take my glasses off, is remove the first 2 layers. So there's one, and I always have trouble getting this one off, and wish there was an easier way to get it off, but just need some nails to try and get the little edge. There is 2 layers there, I just can't get it off. Oops, there we go. There we go. So we've got the 2 layers of the napkin off. You can save those for cleaning up later on, or if you're wanting to add texture to one of your projects. So we'll just pop that over to the side. Okay, so what we're going to do, so bring this back down, is we need to line up our napkin roughly in line where our tape is. Okay, so we need to pick the design that we want to do, which way around. Let me see, I think we may go that way. Let me me see. Possibly this way, I'm thinking. How does, yeah, we'll go that way. Okay, all right, so what we need to do now, we need to get our Mod Podge. So this is what we're going to use to glue it down. So we just, when it's a bit stuck, I'll just ask my eldest daughter to unstick it for me. Great, lovely, thank you. And take the lid off. Thanks, love. Okay, so we have our Mod Podge, I should say. And again, this is where the layers that you've just taken off come in handy, because I've got the glue all over my hands. Okay, so now we just need to, oh, flies are outside, a thin layer of Mod Podge onto the napkin, onto the board, sorry. So we'll just, it doesn't have to be, oh, it's okay, there's some leftover paint on my brush. I didn't clean it properly, so there's green flecks now in my Mod Podge, but that's okay. We'll just ignore those. It's life, it happens. Okay, so we've just got, oops, a nice layer of Mod Podge. I think I've got it everywhere on here. Just let me see. Okay. Oh, the hair's just come off the brush. That's okay. This is a hog's bristle brush, and you would really notice that hair if we left it on. So we'll just take it off and brush over it. Oh, and I've lost another one. Oh, my poor old brush. Okay, there we go. I think we are good to go with the napkin. I think I've got enough glue on there now. Okay, right. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so we now grab our napkin. Oh, the wind's going to play havoc with me this afternoon, but that's okay. So we can see our line where the tape is. So we just need to line our napkin up with that line, because we're going to pull the tape off after, and you'll be left with a paint line. So we just put the napkin on, spread it out evenly. Now you'll find that the napkins are actually got some creases in them from when they were folded. So what you can do is, as you're laying the napkin down, just press out those creases. And the wind isn't playing nicely today. That's okay. So as you see, you've got those creases where the napkin was. You can just push them down with your finger. Okay, and there will be creases, and that's fine, because that's something that we're wanting to deal with later. So we've got the line, we'll just push the crease line out. Okay, right, so we've got that. Okay, so again, you can see I've tried my best to get the fold lines out. If you get some in there, that's fine. Just try and push them down with your finger if you can. Okay, so I think we've secured that down quite nicely. So now we've Mod Podged the napkin down. Okay, so you will see there are some little wrinkles, but that's fine. We want those because they are what we're going to work with after. Okay, so oops, the wind. Okay, so we'll just tuck that under there because the wind's flying it everywhere. Okay, so then we get our Mod Podge and our brush again just dipping it in, and then what we're wanting to do is actually stamp down on the napkin with the Mod Podge. That will adhere the napkin further to the book. It'll also get out any little bubbles that may be in there. So we stamp it down quite well. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay, the Mod Podge will make little bubbles on the top, but that's okay because then we just hit them with the brush a little bit more and we're fine. So again, just dipping in. Okay, just stamping with the brush. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Pressing it down. Okay, we don't need to absolutely soak the napkin, but what we do need to do is make sure there is enough glue on there to adhere the napkin to the book. Now we do a little bit of Mod Podge on the side to make the napkin soggy, and I'll show you the reason for that in a minute. We'll adhere it up there quite well. Okay, so the napkin has been stamped down with the Mod Podge and the glue. So that glue is a little bit on the wet side, so unfortunately I'm going to have to blast it with the hairdryer, and that'll dry the Mod Podge, and will shrink a little bit. So at this stage what we can do is, while it's still wet, we can sand off the edges. Okay. So I'll just pull this out. So if you're wishing to, you can just tear, we'll just turn this around. We can just tear the edges off and they will just come off. That's why we wet it with the Mod Podge, and we can just tear those edges off. If they are tearing a little bit too much onto the board, we can just scrape them off with the sanding block. Okay, that's just lifting a little bit there. I'll put just a little bit of Mod Podge on there to try and get that to stick down. Okay, so it's just lifting a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. Right, so what we'll do now is we'll just continue to sand this edge. Okay. And then that will just cleanly cut that napkin off, and we can, if it takes a little bit extra off, that's okay, because we're going to sand it after. Okay, so again, okay, just, it is a little bit awkward for me because I'm trying to show it onto the camera. So then you'll see that it is just sanding off quite nicely, and we can just pull it off if we need to. Okay, so we're almost done with this task. Okay, right, we'll just do it that way. It's just a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Okay, the glue has started to dry. That's okay, we'll just tear that off. If there are any little bits hanging off the edge afterwards, after it's dry, that's fine, you can just sand them again. Okay, so that is still a little bit wet, so we will just blast that with the dryer, so just excuse me for a minute. It will be a bit loud. What we will do is we'll take this tape off, and as you can see, as we've taken the tape off, it's left us a very nice clean line. Okay, sometimes it will take the napkin with it if you let it dry a little bit too much, but that's fine. That's fine. What we've got a white napkin and a white background, so we're going to, okay, Janine says, hi Janine, thanks for joining me. Janine says that we could sprinkle glitter on the top while the glue is wet. Actually, we could do that. I don't think I actually have any glitter, but that's a very good idea. Or you could paint it with glitter glue or something. But thank you, Janine, for that. Okay, so we'll just dry it off. So I didn't quite glue it down very well just over here. That's okay. And I will admit, I am rushing. I don't normally do it this quickly, but I don't want to have this live going on for ages, so we will just glue that down. Otherwise everything else seems reasonably dry. The Mod Podge, if you haven't used Mod Podge before, it does go on white, just like a PVA, but it's not as hard when it dries, and when it does dry, it actually dries to a nice clear finish. So there is a little patch here that's not quite drying, but we'll will just carry on. It is still a little bit wet. You can see there is a little bit of white glue. That will dry clear when it's fully dried. But I don't want to have the hairdryer on all day and all you can hear is the hairdryer noise. So we've got the napkin. You can see that there are some wrinkles that have shown up, and that's fine. That's what we want. I'm hoping that this will be dry enough, but we'll see how we go. So then we get our sanding block and we just give it a light sand. And what that will do is it will, fortunately it's a little bit wet, it will actually wear down the creases so you get that old shabby look. I'll just work on this crease here. And you can see where the crease was, just here, where the crease was, it has now worn down the napkin, and it's sort of like left a white, like sort of like a tear almost. So we'll just give it a little bit more of a sand. Okay, so that sort of whiteness could probably be seen more in this flower here, where you can see that, I'll try and get it to focus. There we go. So you can see that there was a wrinkle, and as we've sanded the wrinkle down, it's actually exposed the whiteness of the paper, and it's made it that sort of old shabby look. So that's pretty much it. What you could do, and I didn't bring my ribbons out with me, is if you don't like this raw edge, you can perhaps put a ribbon across it, or a paint line, or a strip of washi tape. Georgia, is there any ribbons? Could you just grab me some ribbon? I'll just ask my daughter to grab me some ribbon, and we will just have a bit of a play. So what you can do, if you're wanting the book to be more worn, the harder you scratch, the more worn it will look. So we've got quite a few wrinkles here. I don't want to be scratching all day on this live, and then all you can hear is my scratching. So, but if I was making this book not on a live, I would actually sand a lot more, just to get those wrinkles and to get that really old shabby feeling. Yeah, Janine, we could tie little lengths on the binder edge. That would be good. We could do all sorts, because once you've got the plain book, you can add anything to it. So if you wanted, yeah, you could add some ribbon to do like to the side and add like a bookmark type thing. So I'm just seeing what Georgia's got for me here. Okay, just for an example, we've got the book. We could get some ribbon, and we could, for example, glue that ribbon onto the edge, and then you've got a nice clean edge. That works especially well if you've got like a paint line from where we've masked the book and the paint line is showing, or for some reason the tape hasn't come off cleanly and it's torn the book, the napkin. So you can distress the napkin a bit further if you wish to, and you could sort of like do it that way. You can sand it down until the brown from the book shows. I've done that before. So really what you could do, what else have we got there, Georgia? We've got I've got some flowers in here, so if you wanted to, you could add on okay, I'll open them up, get them out. If you wanted to, you could add some flowers in the corner, which we, you know what, we'll do that. So the Mod Podge acts as a sealer as well. So what if you can do is, after you've sanded it, okay, that's as much as I'm going to sand this one today, we can put another coat of the Mod Podge over the top to seal it again. and that's when you can also then add in your embellishments if you wanted to. So we'll just brush this on, and outside in this weather it's drying quite quickly, so that's a good thing. So we'll just do it like that, and as you can see, it is wet, and goes on white, dries clear. So now we have our little flowers. We can, Georgia, do we have any scissors? We can cut this. Do you have some there? Okay, if you grab me some, that would be great. So while we're here, what we can do is we've got this little flower. I'll just stick a bit of Mod Podge on, because Mod Podge is a glue. So we can just pop that on with what I'll do with my end of my other paintbrush. We'll just put some glue on like that. It is quite hard to craft upside down. We can put the flower there. We can get another flower. Which one? Maybe that one. We can do a group of flowers. Okay, so put a whole heap of glue on. You could use super glue, E6000, any of the glues. I'm not quite sure if this glue will actually stick these down, but we'll give it a go. You could use molds, like plaster moldings. Let's see if how are we going? Put it upside down so that way we may be able to see a little bit better. There we go. So we've got some flowers. Oh, thank you for some scissors, Georgia. We'll put another flower on, groups of 3. I think that's the saying when you're interior decorating, groups of 3 are more pleasing to the eye. So I've just put some more glue onto that flower. Oops, that's about to fall off. That's okay. And we'll just pop this there. So we'll just pop them down, whether they stick or not, because they were a spur of the moment idea. If they don't stick with this glue, we can put some more glue on later. Okay, so Georgia, okay, we'll just cut some of this ribbon. Okay, so that piece is a bit big. That's okay. So what we will do, I will use this one. Okay, so we'll just put a line of glue. Where are we with this way? Okay, we'll just put a line of glue along here. Again, I wouldn't do it like this, but we are on a live and I'm just trying to show you as best as I can to give you some ideas. Okay, so we now have our ribbon. We shall just pop it down, maybe just in line with the edge of where the metal spines sit. Okay, I'm not quite sure if that's quite straight. There is a little bit of movement with the glue until it sets. So there we go, we've got the ribbon on there. We can cut it and we can tuck it underneath here if we wished, like sometimes you do see on books, but we may just not the best scissors, but that's okay. Some dressmaking scissors may have been the way to go, but we'll just, okay, so what you can do, I'll just put a bit more glue under that. Normally I would glue this down with PVA glue. So Sally's Acrid here is my favourite, but we will just use what we have today, and we'll cut this one off as well. Oh, thank you, Georgia. I've finished now, but thank you. So we'll just fold this back. The layer of Mod Podge that I've just put over the top is still wet and my finger is just stuck to it, but that's okay. And there is our completed book. It's not quite dry. Did we find any glitter, Georgia? Can you grab some? Thank you. Take Janine's advice and maybe sprinkle a little bit of glitter on it and see how we go. And again, we can put some nice satin ribbon across the end here, tie it on, and then turn it into a bookmark. Okay, so George has got me some Okay, some glitter. What's that glitter there? What colour should we do? What are we going to do? Multicoloured silver. Oops. Some white. Do you think some little goldy whitey ones? Okay. There's actually a brush hair in that. If I can pick that off before it dries. Okay. That'll dry. That's fine. Okay, so we're finished. We'll take Janine's advice or suggestion, and we'll just put, again, you can just keep layering the Mod Podge over the top, and I suppose the more layers you put on the better, because then the book will be a lot more hardier, especially if it's going to be in school bags or with work desks and briefcases and that sort of thing. So we've put the Mod Podge on, and we will now just get a little bit of glitter. I can't get the lid off. There we go. Do you mind if I use all your glitter, Georgia? No, it's okay. And we will just sprinkle on a little bit of glitter. Oh, the wind's taking it everywhere. Oh, that's not very good. So I'll do it with the brush. Will that work? Okay, so thank you, Georgia. That was a good suggestion. Okay, so Georgia is my eldest daughter. She's helping me today. So we shall just put on some little piles of glitter. It will stick to the Mod Podge, not a problem. As I said, the Mod Podge will dry clear. And at the moment it is still white. And so although we are rushing today to get this finished, I think it's looking fantastic. And then when everything has dried, I will post a photo up of it later on. But I'm thinking at the moment that that is looking lovely. Okay, so there we go. We'll just leave it like that for the moment. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oops, I missed a bit there, but we'll leave that. That's fine. Okay, so I will have a bit of a tinker with this later and see how it looks. But that is our notebook that we've made today. Yes, it is still a little bit wet, and you can see the glue brush marks, but we've added some flowers, the decoupage napkin, some ribbon. I think all in all it looks very, very nice. Okay, so I'll turn you up. Okay, so just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial. I'm sorry it was a little bit fast. If there's anything else that you would like to for me to show you next week, I'm going to try and come on every Sunday at around about 3 o'clock as best as I can. If there's something that you would like me to paint or a craft that you'd like me to try and learn and show you in the future, I'll endeavour to have a practice and bring it to you. Again, I'd just like to say thank you for joining me, and this is the notebook we made today. I hope everyone has a go, and if you do make one, please add it to the bottom of this live and show me what you've made. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks, bye.